CISA passes into law, the government's surveillance product catalog is made public, Hello Kitty has been hacked, and Juniper's screenOS has a backdoor. All that coming up now on ThreatWire. Hello world, I'm Shannon Morse and this is ThreatWire for December 22nd, 2015, your summary of the threats to our security, privacy, and internet freedom. Thank you to our patrons for making ThreatWire possible. Seriously, you are the best bosses I could ever ask for. Now, back in October, we were pretty upset that the Cyber Information Sharing Act passed the Senate by a vote of 74 to 21, but we hoped that it would not go further. Tech firms and civil liberties groups alike have publicly opposed CISA and even signed an open letter in opposition. The act would allow companies to share user information with government agencies, pretty much any government agencies, without a warrant, and is touted as a cybersecurity bill. The opposition says that CISA is another form of legal surveillance on law-abiding citizens. Unfortunately, though, a House Speaker named Paul Ryan slipped CISA into the omnibus bill, which is basically a bunch of legislation that has to do with federal funding, not cybersecurity. The bill passed the House as well during this late-night session and has now passed President Obama's desk. And yes, he signed it into law. This law has been stripped down to its bare minimum and no longer includes preventions against the NSA getting its hands on personally identifying details, and does not include any kind of restrictions on government use of the data that they collect. Since the omnibus bill has also included many changes to federal funding that many would consider to be positive changes, such as tax breaks for college tuition and renewable energy, military troops getting pay raises, and lifting a ban on exporting crude oil. To add the CISA bill into such a package made the chances of a veto incredibly slim, and Paul Ryan, I think he knew that. Gee golly, it's a great day to live in America, isn't it? Happy holidays, everyone. The US government is no stranger to fancy, expensive devices used to track your cell phone. Like Stingray, anyone? But a new government catalog obtained by The Intercept has shown us that the devices are used by both the military and by government agencies, and they come in many different forms. Surveillance products range in price from a few thousand to a few $1,000,000, and the full document contains capability descriptions, photos, as well as vendor information, some of which are really known names, such as Boeing, for example. Many of these devices have never been publicized. The products have a wide range of capabilities, but all of them include some kind of surveillance for cell phones in one way or another. Unfortunately, the use of many of these devices on U.S. grounds by local law enforcement violate the Fourth Amendment and are complicated for a ruling judge to understand, which makes it really hard to issue a warrant based on these broad misconceptions. Is nothing sacred anymore? First VTech and now Hello Kitty. Sanrio, the company that owns Hello Kitty, along with all of her kawaii pals, runs an online community at sanriotown.com. This weekend, a researcher named Chris Vickery contacted saltedhash and databreaches.com about a data leak from the site, which includes first and last names, birthdays, gender, country of origin, email addresses, passwords, which were SHA-1 encrypted but not salted, as well as password hints, including the questions and the answers. Yeah. So the leaked data is currently being withheld by the outlets, and Sanrio has begun an investigation. Now, because the passwords can be easily reverse engineered because they weren't salted, users are advised to change their passwords and security questions and answers. And by the way, don't use the same password on multiple sites, and now's a really good time to get a password manager if you haven't done so yet. Lastly is Juniper Networks, the company behind many popular networking and security-related products. They issued a security advisory on December 17th about unauthorized code in screenOS, the operating system used by firewall and security service gateway applications that they sell. The code would allow a, quote, knowledgeable attacker to gain administrative access to NetScreen devices and to decrypt VPN connections. The vulnerability requires Telnet or SSH to be enabled to be exploited. Metasploit exploit project founder H.D. Moore discovered that a hard-coded admin password could allow this to happen as a backdoor into the system. Juniper has already released a patch and strongly advises customers to update as soon as possible, even though they have not confirmed any use of this exploit in the wild. No culprits have been named, but Ars Technica suggests NSA involvement based on previous leaked documents and the mention of an NSA operation that would allow the agency to create persistent backdoors on Juniper firewalls. Before I go, I want to give a huge thanks to everyone who has supported the show so far on Patreon. Of course, if you want to become a patron, you can go to patreon.com/threatwire, and we may even feature your adorbs fur babies, like these ones, in our next episode, because they're super cute. I really like the small ones. Those are my favorite, because I could totally put them in my hacker bag and take them to a convention, although I would probably get kicked out of the hotel for doing that. Help us hit our next milestone goal of 2 episodes per week with a rotation of your favorite hosts and an RSS feed as well. Yeah, I can't wait to get to that point, so definitely help us out. Of course, I hope that you will contribute to keep this show coming completely independent and ad-free. If you can't donate, that's cool too. Share the show with like one friend this holiday season, just one. I think if everybody out there shares it with one friend, maybe we can get a few more patrons. I think that would be very cool. You can find all of our episodes, links to our social networks, other stuff like that to contribute over at threatwire.net. And with that, I am Shannon Morse, and I will see you on the internet. End of line.